Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you might be in the world. That's a great thing about the internet. I'm sitting here chilling out with this guy. If you're in the United States or one of those areas where you have to pay taxes to Uncle Sam, because you might be abroad and still have to pay taxes to this guy. I put $2 in, and look, Uncle Sam gave me 2 quarters. Well, you know what? You obviously need it more than I do, and that sucks. So, drinking my Yoo-Hoo tonight. I'm already all fired up. I had to redo this video because smooth gimbal, worst purchase I have ever made. I probably said it more than once. Left a very annoying hum in the background, and I apologize. In the upcoming video, replacing the rack and pinion in the Ford Explorer, 2004 Ford Explorer with 242,000 miles on it. You may hear some buzzing that I tried to edit out. I'm not a very good audio video editor. I'm a hack mechanic, and probably drank too many Yoo-Hoos tonight anyways to begin with. I am not sponsored by Yoo-Hoo. In the process of replacing this rack and pinion, I came across a leaking gasket for a oil cooler. The oil cooler gasket was $9 from Advanced Auto. I'll put a link below. The rack and pinion was $198 from cardone.com. Actually, I bought it from Amazon. After the cord charge, it will cost somewhere around $78, $88, somewhere in there. The Ford dealership wanted $600 or something like that, and I think they were going to give you like a $200 cord charge for that rack and pinion from the dealership. The Cardone guys or gals, they do a great job rebuilding their rack and pinions, and this one definitely feels good. I'm gonna give you some tips. If you got big meat paws, you're probably gonna have some difficulty getting into the area where the pinion meets the knuckle, the steering knuckle. There is a small bolt in there, I believe, if I recall off the top of my head. It was a 1/2 inch bolt that went in there, and you may need an extra assistant to have them turn the steering wheel while you're in there on their back or wherever you get in there. If you're lucky enough to have a lift, I won't make any bad comments or judgments against you. If you're looking for a tax-deferred charitable contribution, my niece's organization is a charitable organization that helps children with childhood leukemia or other cancers, and they do a great job with helping parents who are in need. And that's Laney's Legacy of Hope.org. I will put the link in the description because I may be wrong in that link off the top of my head. So enjoy the upcoming video, and I do apologize for being in a small garage, and hopefully the video will assist you in your endeavors, because I imagine you're probably watching this because you want to take on your own challenges. I would give this about a 7 as far as difficulty goes. I removed the lower control arm because it was just easier to drop the rack and pinion out that way. I think it was a size 30 millimeter, 27 or 30 millimeter socket on the back of that lower control arm. It's not the first time I've replaced the lower control arm or removed the lower control arm. It has 242,000 miles, and I bought it with 36,000 miles on it, and I've replaced the suspension components probably about 3 or 4 times now, somewhere in there. Pennsylvania roads are not that great. So again, tax-deferred charitable contributions, Laney'sLegacy.org, Laney'sLegacyofHope.org, and enjoy the upcoming video. All right, so things have gotten a little bit more complex on this unit. Now, of course, the other guy I think that was working on, as the other video out there, I think he was working on a V6. This is the V8. So imagine the Ford F-150s are pretty much the same way. I will point out that you will need to remove this. It is a 1/2 inch nut. Of course, I probably lost it now. I have to dig around for it in a little bit. I removed the lower control arm. I'm probably gonna end up removing it from the knuckle altogether. I was hoping that maybe I could squeeze it by, but and I might not have needed to remove that, but it was just easier to get to that nut for me, that stupid one nut, by lowering that control arm. So that will pop out your fittings there and allow you to hook in your new setup. You'll probably have to remove these two fittings. It's kind of stupid because I don't see any other way of getting that in there, because oh, all right, never mind. And again, this is the first rack and pinion that I'm doing, but that's how you remove that. I initially started to remove the cooling pressure lines, but you know what? I don't think I need to do that yet. I'm going to remove the rest of this. I got to pull the like I said, I mean, I probably didn't have to, but it just made it easier for me to get some extra room in there to pull this down. These are, like I said, 27 in the front for removing that unit there. This is what that all looks like. I may actually remove everything in here because it sounds like this upper control arm has a little bit of play in that bushing. You know, again, 242,000 miles, and she still starts. So what can I say? I made a boo-boo. I shouldn't have removed the strut, probably. I don't know. We'll see. I haven't figured out what direction I'm going here with this. I'm gonna get flip-flopped and all around. Sorry. So you can see it. This is why it was just easier for me to have the lower control arm down further. If you can see right there where that bolt was at, that is a 1/2 inch bolt, and you kind of need the extra leverage in order to get the steering apart there. And I'm sorry that I'm intermittent in between this. My gimbal just was too hard for me to deal with right now. But as you can see in the shiny part there, it is separating, and we're slowly but surely getting this apart. I'll probably end up replacing an oil pan gasket while I'm at it, because I think that's actually what is leaking all over. Whoa, we had a visitor in this tiny, very crowded garage. So anyways, I wanted to do a little bit of recording here. I know it's kind of been hodgepodge, you know, and I'm not sure what we can or cannot see, but I can't find my GoPro either. Story of my life, I can't find stuff. Like I said, I'll probably get this out of here without having to remove the lower control arm. But for me, it was just easier to remove the lower control arm. And I'm probably going to end up removing the whole knuckle, because my upper control arm bushing feels like it's got quite a bit of play in it, and I'm pretty sure that is, at least when I take it for inspection, someone's going to grind my stones about this. When you're taking this out, you don't have to go full gorilla on it. Like I said, moving gently and swiftly with this, I've been able to manage to get it to this point in my experience, and hopefully I will be able to gingerly drop that without making it any worse. The nice thing is that lovely people to make it easy so you can't confuse it when you're putting the new one back in. Isn't that nice? And lo and behold, this old beasterella with probably, I don't know, I'm guessing this unit probably had 200,000 miles on it, at least. And that's that. While I'm at this, I believe I'm going to do the honors of replacing the oil pan gasket, because I'm pretty sure that is what's leaking. That wasn't actually my control arm, or I should say my, you know what I'm saying? It wasn't my, I wanted to point out this too, if you can see it. It's an 8mm. I just loosened it because it was easier to get around. I started out this video monkeying with that line. You don't need to remove the line for the 2004 Ford Explorer. So I'm going to put those back in there and pray that they don't leak. Not that that cooler isn't all beat up anyways, but these are 8mm. Hangs on a bracket. Like, yay. And it was just easier to get to the bolts that were, or the nuts that were on top of the, you know what I'm saying? I'm tired now, sorry guys. Been at this for a little while, monkeying and meandering around, trying to figure out if I can do this, you can do it. So hopefully when I put this all back together, it'll be nice and tight, and everything will be great. I'm going to remove the tie rod ends. I don't think there's any explanation you need in that, other than, you know, count your threads, count your turns, use a paint marker, I don't know, some type of marking. You're going to have to take it for an alignment anyways, as everybody else will say to you. I do truly believe that I have 3 more tires that I need to mount. Good gravy. The Coopers had seen the last of their days, so I bought some non-Kang cheapies. Non-Kang! Even the dog thinks that's funny. Non-Kang! This is what happens when you get in a tiny garage. Non-Kang! The joys of car ownership. Someone once said to me that driving was a privilege, and that part of the responsibility or the privilege of owning a vehicle and driving is the expenses incurred while maintaining the vehicle. Though I probably should have cut bait with this one and left, here it is. So, why I have this all apart, because my remote filter has been weeping and leaking, I should say bleeding all over the underside of this vehicle. I went out and I bought a Felpro one as a replacement. I mean, you know, you get what you pay for, I guess, but this is 242,000 miles on this beastie here, and I really don't try not to spend more than a couple $100 each year to maintain it. And it's usually in suspension components like wheel bearings and control arms. I think I replaced the knuckles at one point for whatever reason. I don't remember. Bought it with 36,000 miles on it. I can't complain. But what I did notice between the Ford gasket and the Felpro gasket is that there is no rubber isolator in between here, which should be interesting. The other thing I noticed too is these are injected, which is kind of crazy. See that? I found that to be a little interesting. So I'm not going to go over the whole spiel of how this installs and uninstalls. What I will tell you is that if you do it from the top, you have to remove your fan and your fan shroud, your radiator shroud. And it is a real biscuit either way. And if you do it from the bottom, the reason I'm doing it from the bottom is because I removed my rack and pinion, even though I didn't really need to replace the rack and pinion. I'm at it. I figured it's only a matter of time before that goes as well. But my Saturday afternoon turned into Saturday evening project. I think we're 4 hours deep, and I've made a mess of the floor, and I think I'm going to call it quits tonight. But I just wanted to point out the difference between this Felpro oil cooler. Of course, I just threw it right to the bottom of the ground here because that's how I roll. The part number was 70801. Oil filter adapter gasket. Well, that's that. Oh, that's hilarious. Figured that it'd be easier to show you what's going on here. So, this is a 2004 Ford Explorer, as I said earlier. When you go to disconnect this, there's a couple things you're going to need to do. The first one is you're going to need to remove a screw or nut off the end of that. It's a 1/2 inch nut in order to get your fittings out. I have a pan under there. I'm probably going to make a mess anyways. I also removed the, you probably don't have to, but it just seems like it'll be easier for me to get the things in here. I removed the lower control arm. That'll probably be a pain in the ass to get back together because I pulled the strut out as a precaution. I didn't know how loaded it was. I couldn't remember. It is loaded a little bit, but I could have probably gotten away with pulling that out. The nut in the back here is a oh, there it is. Good gravy. 24. Sorry. That's a 24. Yeah, I lied. 27. Yeah, if I could find the 27 now. You know how it goes. The same way that they made that one that I currently own. So what I found that worked and didn't work with this rack and pinion, good gravy. Recorded for replacing this rack and pinion on this 04 yeah. Little sticks and duck farts. So I'm hanging out here with Uncle Sam this evening and drinking a little yoo-hoo. First complaint I'm going to make is about this smooth gimbal. I had to remake this video that I'm doing right now because there was this god-awful sound in the background. I don't know. We're going to go see what Sharon's doing. I think she's standing. We got to be super quiet though. She might be painting.
Stop!
What's going on in here?
Bad. I'm painting over everything.
How bad? What? That looks like a seam that needs to be spackled yet.
I know.
Yeah. Would you sand it down to the paper tape?
No, a lot of this was already like this. Thank you.
So you're just gonna paint right over it?
Yep. Fuck it.
Such foul language. Well, it's better than the mistake I made.
What'd you do?
I don't know.